What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Look, Mr. Z pushed the time back because I thought there was reckless streams. Clearly, I thought there was something that I had to do, and I might still have to do it. So we'll get to that. Maybe we'll see. So yeah, y'all already know. Reckless streams. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. Anyway, yeah, I was trying to wait for something to happen, maybe. And it didn't happen, maybe yet. Y'all already know what Mr. Z is saying, but Mr. Z ain't gonna say it because you already know. With that, right, we're gonna start this off with this right here, and then we'll get to it afterward. We'll speak about it afterward. We'll elaborate. There we go. All right, Z.
You know, this is not good. This is not a place that's better off when people are like, you're concerned about white people. Also, I'd note in the United States, remember I said what matters is the groups that are breeding when they have money, right? Because what's going to happen to a group over time if they're having tons of kids, and it's only the ones who don't have money who are having tons of kids, is one, that population is going to be subjective to dysgenic selection, which has negative effects. But then two, even culturally speaking, if it's making an anti-education choice, if it's making a choice to not be economically productive that leads to that group surviving and proliferating, the cultural elements in those groups that enhance that choice are going to proliferate in the future. In the US, this becomes really important because if you're like, who's going to dominate the future of the United States? If you are above 50% income in the United States, above 50% income, who has the highest fertility? What demographic? Can anybody guess? It's white people.
Yeah, not what people think. I'll send you on WhatsApp the Institute for Family Studies graph that shows this, because it's so, actually, when you look at it, it actually looks as though when we get beyond just abject poverty, there is actually a slight positive correlation between income and, well, fertility, but only for white people.
Only for white people.
For all other groups, it goes down, which really does, it kind of makes what they're arguing for look really bad, because they keep arguing like, give people more money and they'll have more kids. And it's like, well, that's not really true, except for just white people. Can you guys maybe stop?
White people. White people do have more kids.
You're showing your hand, guys. This is not a good look for you.
The thing here is people are like, oh, what about scary black TFR, which isn't even that high, by the way. And I always point out here, but it is very important to note, black people in the United States that aren't in like the bottom, I'd say 15% of income for black individuals have the lowest fertility rate of any ethnic group in the United States.
Yeah, they are at risk. They are at risk. They need help.
Yeah, and anybody who's wealthy, black friends, knows this. Like, black people, when they get money, they have like no kids. And there's a number of reasons for this. We won't get into it in this episode. Might be worth doing a whole episode of why black people don't have kids.
That actually would be an interesting episode. Yeah. Because I think it's similar to people being like, oh, we'll just use Latin America indefinitely to get population numbers up for the United States, which is, as we've shown, super not going to happen. The other thing that people constantly say is like, well, black people and Africans are just going to keep having lots of babies. So, you know, just don't worry about it. They'll take care of it. And it's like, well, actually, assuming you're not in poverty, no. Extra no. Let's work on that.
And so here...
Yeah, and this is the a better look at what they showed earlier. And as you can see, the red line is black folks. And yeah, you can see it's definitely lower than everyone else, right? Foreign women, which is green, is higher than everyone else, right? The blue line is white folks. It's second, right? So depending on where you, and y'all go ahead for the replay gang, shout out to replay gang. You can pause this on the replay so you can get a better look at it. I'll be putting the link for this in the description box after the stream. I don't know why I didn't do it before the stream. My apologies to everyone. I'm you know, y'all already know how it go, but yeah, Mr. Z got to get better at doing that. We were good, and then we kind of fell off on leaving the links to the materials in the description box. We got to get back to it. Okay, with that, so why this matters. So depending on which site or what researchers you look up, the bottom group, the group that's producing the less after a certain amount is debatable, right? So it's not always black people at the bottom, but it is always white folks at first or second. So they do have a point there, right? They do have a point there. And that's something that Black people are going to have to discuss. What is the point of having the status and the money if we're going to watch the birth rate plummet for Black folks? Number one. Number two, this is I guess this one wouldn't be a BGS was right. This is more a Black Uru is right. So Black Uru said something along the lines of this, years ago. I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe 5. It was more than 3 years ago. It got to be 4 or 5 years ago. Black Uru spoke to Black folks with a modicum of intelligence and education and drive and wherewithal. We should be the ones having children, but we're leaving that for the Pookies and the Keishas and whatnot. And he is correct. And so this is another thing. Shout out to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, who showed us years ago that Black men do not benefit from income and wealth the way other men do. So even when we're educated, even when we have the wealth and the status and whatnot, we still have similar diabetes rates. We still have similar mortality rates, et cetera, et cetera. So what this is showing is and actually, who was I watching that said something? I gotta link to that. Train tracks. That was speaking to folks don't have children up until about $300,000 a year, and then they start having children again. In America, at least. And so I would argue that, well, from what we can see here, that might not be the case for Black people. So once again, Black men do not benefit from wealth in the same ways that other folks, including obviously white men, do. So yeah. Ouch. Right? I'm sorry to start the morning off with some doomer talk. Goddamn, Z, could we break a smile on your channel at least once? Right? So my apologies to everyone for starting off doomer. Right? East Coast, it's a little later, right? It's not late in the morning, but it's a little bit later for those of you on the West Coast. You're like, goddamn, I just woke up, Z, and you hitting me with the doomer talk. Right? And excuse me, I might be going through a dead zone in a bit, so I will be reiterating what I am saying now in a minute, because I am going through a bit of a dead zone. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Maybe you can't, but either way, I am going through a dead zone. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. So yeah, Black people, Black men are going to have a real conversation about what's the point then. Shout out to the nameless protagonist with Black Mandalorianism and Black men having to reconsider all of this. Shout out to Compassionate for backing that up. I think Obsidian has spoken to that a bit also, but I don't know if that's what he calls it. He has made mention to Black men being Mandalorians though. Right? Okay, cool. Okay, it's back. Okay. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it. Something different, you guys. I'm not speaking about the street right now. Yeah, so I'll address this in a minute. But yeah, so Black men, yeah. So what are we gonna do about this? Huh? So what are we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do about this? Yeah. Huh? Man. That's funny, Trill. I ain't even gonna address it. But yeah, but so what they said, and I actually would like to do a stream on this, that Black folks with some money are the least likely to have children. Wow. Right. So once again, tell your aunties and uncles them and your recent conservative cousins, the Black ones, of course, obviously, they don't know what the hell they talking about. All these Black people having all these kids, and yeah, but no. Huh? And look at Nick Cannon, and look at Cam Newton, and look at, and they got like 7, 8 kids from two. Yeah, but that's not what's really happening, though. So shout out to us for being on the cutting edge of the information. And yeah, isn't it the most like aggravating thing when you're having a conversation with black folks and their negative stereotypes of other black folks is somewhere stuck 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe or more? Huh? Yikes. You know when you're saying, hey, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. No, black people ain't spending any money on Jordans a week. No, actually, we ain't having that as many kids as you think. Actually, the black birth rate is below replacement level, just like white folks are. Obviously, white folks are more, kind of, sort of, right? No, no, rich black men aren't having as many kids as you think. Don't let Cam Newton and Nick Cannon and the rest of the folks with 5 and 6, 7 kids fool you. Don't let Diddy fool you, right? That's factually inaccurate, y'all. Once again, the outliers are doing too much talking. So black folks are letting entertainment and these content creators and these entertainers and these talking heads and these pundits, right, dominate the conversation when actually the birth rate for black folks in America is going down, including for educated, well-resourced, well-to-do black folks. Ah, so this is something that I think that we really should consider. And as a matter of fact, y'all gives you a second. We're gonna play that again because I gotta do something real quick. So y'all gives you a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
This is not good. This is not a place that's better off when people are like, you're concerned about white people. Also, I'd note in the United States, remember I said what matters is the groups that are breeding when they have money, right? Because what's going to happen to a group over time if they're having tons of kids, and it's only the ones who don't have money who are having tons of kids, is one, that population is going to be subjective to dysgenic selection, which has negative effects. But then two, even culturally speaking, if it's making an anti-education choice, if it's making a choice to not be economically productive that leads to that group surviving and proliferating, the cultural elements in those groups that enhance that choice are going to proliferate in the future. In the US, this becomes really important because if you're like, who's going to dominate the future of the United States? If you are above 50% income in the United States, above 50% income, who has the highest fertility? What demographic? Can anybody guess? It's white people.
Yeah,
white people
not what people think. I'll send you on WhatsApp the Institute for Family Studies graph that shows this, because it's so, actually, when you look at it, it actually looks as though when we get beyond just abject poverty, there is actually a slight positive correlation between income and fertility, but only for white people.
Only for white people.
For all other groups, it goes down, which really does, it kind of makes what they're arguing for look really bad, because they keep arguing like, give people more money and they'll have more kids. And it's like, well, that's not really true, except for just white people. Can you guys maybe stop?
White people. White people do have more kids.
You're showing your hand, guys. This is not a good look for you.
The thing here is people are like, oh, what about scary black TFR, which isn't even that high, by the way. And I always point out here, but it is very important to note, black people in the United States that aren't in like the bottom, I'd say 15% of income for black individuals have the lowest fertility rate of any ethnic group in the United States.
Yeah, they are at risk. They are at risk. They need help.
Yeah, and anybody with wealthy black friends knows this. Like, black people, when they get money, they have like no kids. And there's a number of reasons for this. We won't get into it in this episode. Might be worth doing a whole episode of why black people don't have kids.
That actually would be an interesting episode. Yeah. Because I think it's similar to people being like, oh, we'll just use Latin America indefinitely to get population numbers up for the United States, which is, as we've shown, super not going to happen. The other thing that people constantly say is like, well, black people and Africans are just going to keep having lots of babies. So, just don't worry about it. They'll take care of it. And it's like, well, actually, assuming you're not in poverty, no. Extra no. Let's work on that.
And so here.
And AB Media says, Z, check your email later. The most educated. No, I actually saved that video that you sent with homegirl talking about crying. I'm actually going to review it in a little bit, probably this stream. And once again, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. And this is the chart that the folks showed. Depending on where you go to find this, different demographics. They have different demographics as being the people that's having the least children. But what you find is white folks are either first or second in having the most children over, I think it was a certain income. I can't remember. I can't remember what the income is, but yeah. So shout out to all the folks we mention all the time, all the women from the Mayas. I'm using celebrities for a reason with this. From the Mayas to the to the you know, not Monica, she had kids. Brandy only had one, if I'm not mistaken. But all of the women that we mentioned, the Vivica A. Foxes and the Claudia Jordans, and once again, like I said, Maya and whatnot. Yeah, Taraji only one, right? So why does that matter? Those are well-to-do women, and they've been well-to-do for 3 decades, right? Give or take. For some of them, approaching more like 4, maybe 5-ish decades, right? Megan Goods and whatnot. Huh? So yeah. What's the point of having the success? Huh? So this is something that is to consider. Stop allowing Black folks that don't know what the hell they're talking about, that's traumatized, to speak. And shout out to Inspired Truth. Let me actually speak about that Amanda Seals versus the 20, right? The radical versus the 20 conservatives. I'm going to speak about that for just a couple minutes. A theme that was glaring to Z is how many of the folks got to where they are because of personal grievances. And so, yes, the personal is political. And there's a bit of Z that says, grow the hell up. Things haven't necessarily been peachy for Z's life either. With that, Mr. Z's politics are informed by spite and grievance. And who didn't like me in high school, or a cousin that used to bully me when I was at grandma's house, or a random Black folks when I was a kid that said you were less Black, or ADOS versus Haitian conversations in the 80s and the 90s. Like, Mr. Z's politics aren't informed by that. But what you found with the conversation between Amanda Seals and the 20 conservatives is many of them recited issues that happened to them. And there was one sister that, admittedly spoke about her father being deleted from a Black man when she was young. Okay, understandable, right? And a lot of their personal responsibility conversation had nothing to do with systemic anything, right? It had to do with, once again, personal grievances. And that's a real interesting way of doing politics in America, right? That's a real interesting way of doing politics in America. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Inspired Truth, shout out to him. I may cover that and clip out certain parts and speak about it. Everybody's speaking about the brother from, was he South African? I can't remember. Younger brother that was there. And Amanda Seals actually had some hope in him. It was like, I think you're gonna learn more and you're gonna switch your tune. Right? So Mr. Z is not about telling Black folks to vote Democrat or to conservative brethren to jump off the Republican plantation to the Democratic plantation. That's some weird stuff. Don't do that either. With that, minimizing the plight of Black folks, which you see going on. We know about Trump and the Smithsonian, and too much of the Smithsonian focuses on slavery and how bad slavery was, which is an interesting statement to make about slavery in America. And you know, the age old, well, America wasn't the only one that did slavery. As a matter of fact, white people ended slavery. So we're having that conversation again for the 1 zillionth time in American history. Um, so this is just an interesting time in America, right? Concerning Black folks, yeah, and minimizing slavery, Jim Crow, degradation of Black people and Black families, and attempting to attempting to make up for that with like 10 tons of respectability politics talk and take accountability talk. And you see that from Black men and Black women, but frighteningly, a lot of Black men. And I would just caution us once again, y'all see Mr. Z is doing this more and more. I would caution us, particularly for our conservative brethren, be careful how you playing with this talk right now. I don't know if you appreciate, because your pride and your ego won't allow you. The brother who was all buttoned up on that conversation with straight laced buttoned up brother, kind of brown skin, maybe trending to lighter skin, but brown skin brother, um who was speaking to Amanda Seals, and when she was speaking about the systemic issues, he said no, fatherless homes are the issue. Ugh. And Black people don't really need reparations. When we need our father-led homes, which Mr. Z agreed with the father-led homes, but CYZ is careful on this type of talk. Ugh. We got to be careful, like, right? Which is fascinating because you will meet white men, Black men, Latino men, young and old, who will speak about child support, who will speak about the systemic issues and how mothers are primarily awarded custody of the children, and they'll speak about child support, and they'll speak about the rig system when it comes to that. And those same folks will then turn around and tell you what systemic issues concerning Black people, Black men in specific, and racism, anti-Blackness, etc. Right? It's fascinating. Huh? The same people that will speak to you about how second wave feminism screwed Black folks, how the thumb was on the scale, and how elites position women to screw over men, and you're seeing left-leaning men and right-leaning men coming to the conclusion that elite men just use the women as buffers. Those same folks would then turn around and tell you white supremacy, anti-Blackness. What the hell are you talking about? Huh? Those same folks will tell you about personal responsibility, and Black people need to take accountability, and fatherless homes. Those same folks, particularly obviously if they're conservative. Fascinating. You gotta love it. Huh? So, yeah, that debate was fascinating. But back to this. So Black people have to have a real conversation. Black men have to have a real conversation about what is the point of all of this. If we're seeing that we're not being rewarded or compensated for our hard work the same as non-Black men. Birth rate still to the crapper, life expectancy still in the crapper, health still in the crapper, stress levels still in the crapper. What's the point of all of this? So shout out once again to the nameless protagonist and his political Mandalorianism, right? So yes, I hear the women, particularly Black women, doing their begging. We're gonna play a couple of those clips in a minute. And they're starting to suffer now, and they starting to feel it, and they Mr. Z told y'all they were at the table. Shout out to BGS. He told y'all they were at the table. But now they can't even front for many of them. With that, what's the point of all of it? Huh? So no, real talk with Yanni. It's not black women that should be saying, what's the incentive? Absolutely not. It's not black women that should be saying what's the incentive, right? We know what the incentive for black women is. Once again, the average man spends $5,000 to $12,000 more per year when in relationship. We know what the incentive for black women is. Black and Latina women who never marry are the least wealthy in the US. Real talk with Yanni, we know what the incentive is. A disproportionate number of black women are kinless as they age. Advocates say they deserve a social safety net. Huh? We know what the incentive is. Shout out to Beast Mode. I saw his coverage. I downloaded it. I'll speak about it in the next day or two. Of all those black women in LA who were speaking about being single and how the black men ain't checking for them. And yeah, I would say date out then, but we already know them white dudes ain't really checking either. So Latinos ain't really checking either. I read through them comments and brothers that live in LA said, hey, them white and Latino dudes are taking them on a TZ tour, but they ain't marrying them like that. That's the incentive. Real talk with Yeti. You're doing well financially, but the incentive for average black women, which most women are, particularly black women, actually below average financially, but okay. The incentive is not to starve. The incentive is companionship at the least. The real person that should be asking the entire society, America, black women, all women, what's the incentive? The one group of people in America that should be asking that question is black men. To be frank with you, only one group in America really should be asking that question. From poor to rich. From barely educated to highly educated. Huh? The one group of people in America that should be asking, what's the incentive? Is black men. Huh? Yikes. And that's a question. If black men are not going to benefit related to their health, to their longevity, right, their livelihood, if they're not going to benefit in any of these myriad of ways, so what we get to do, I guess, when we're alive, when we have some money, is what, a nice luxury car, a McMansion in the suburbs, maybe a side chick or two, and that's our benefit, while everyone else is their health improves, right? Their lifespan improves, the trajectory for their children and their progeny improves. Black men, apparently, even with us elevating ourselves, our sons are still coming down to working class by 70%. So the one group of people in America that should be asking what's the incentive is not black women, real talk with Yanni, and it's not white men. What if Altus and all these other weirdo conservative and libertarian ass white dudes? Huh? The one group in America that should be asking what's the incentive is not you racist and colorist Latinos. It's not you, well, racist and colorist Asians, South Asians, and East Asians. It's black men. Huh? It's not you liberal and progressive white women, including you LGBTQ white women. Only one group in America should really be asking what's the incentive, and it's black men. Huh? With numbers like these, huh? So I'm gonna play that clip one more again for y'all, and we'll get underway because he got things to do, right?
You know, this is not good. This is not a place that's better off when people are like, you're concerned about white people. Also, I'd note in the United States, remember I said what matters is the groups that are breeding when they have money, right? Because what's going to happen to a group over time if they're having tons of kids, and it's only the ones who don't have money who are having tons of kids, is one, that population is going to be subjective to dysgenic selection, which has negative effects. But then two, even culturally speaking, if it's making an anti-education choice, if it's making a choice to not be economically productive that leads to that group surviving and proliferating, the cultural elements in those groups that enhance that choice are going to proliferate in the future. In the US, this becomes really important because if you're like, who's going to dominate the future of the United States? If you are above 50% income in the United States, above 50% income, who has the highest fertility? What demographic? Can anybody guess? It's white people.
Yeah,
white people
not what people think. I'll send you on WhatsApp the Institute for Family Studies graph that shows this, because it's when you look at it, it actually looks as though when we get beyond just abject poverty, there is actually a slight positive correlation between income and fertility, but only for white people.
Only for white people.
For all other groups, it goes down, which really does. It kind of makes what they're arguing for look really bad, because they keep arguing like, give people more money and they'll have more kids, and it's like, well, that's not really true, except for just white people. Can you guys maybe stop?
White people. White people do have more kids.
You're showing your hand, guys. This is not a good look for you.
The thing here is people are like, oh, what about scary black TFR, which isn't even that high, by the way. And I always point out here, but it is very important to note, black people in the United States that aren't in like the bottom, I'd say 15% of income for black individuals have the lowest fertility rate of any ethnic group in the United States.
Yeah, they are at risk. They are at risk. They need help.
Yeah, and anybody with wealthy black friends knows this. Like, black people, when they get money, they have like no kids. And there's a number of reasons for this. We won't get into it in this episode. Might be worth doing a whole episode of why black people don't have kids.
That actually would be an interesting episode. Yeah. Because I think it's similar to people being like, oh, we'll just use Latin America indefinitely to get population numbers up for the United States, which is, as we've shown, super not going to happen. The other thing that people constantly say is like, well, black people and Africans are just going to keep having lots of babies. So, just don't worry about it. They'll take care of it. And it's like, well, actually, assuming you're not in poverty, no. Extra no. Let's work on that.
And so here.
Right. And shout out to Trell. That's hysterical. He says, I would bet they both have Subaru Outbacks in their driveways. And if you know, you know. If you get the joke, you get the joke. That's absolutely hysterical. That is absolutely hysterical. If you don't get the joke, you don't get it. If you know, you know. That's hysterical. Going to the theme of what Trell says about that couple. Hysterical. That's funny. Right? So going to one of the clips that AB played, and I got to listen to the rest of what she was saying because I watched it. But here you go, and shout out to AB 83 Media, and here you guys go.
I know to my core that we have far exceeded men in terms of intelligence in this country, but I think it's time we start playing dumb. I think it's time we start getting in touch with our emotions. So I'd like to introduce you ladies to what I'm calling the crybaby theory. I think it's time we start crying again. Are you being inconvenienced? Cry. Are you losing an argument? Cry. Oh, they can't accommodate you? Cry. Oh, you didn't get your way? Cry. We really need to move past this like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. No, that. We need to like throw them off a little bit, because the powers that be, they're on to us. They know we're smarter than them. And honestly, if we don't start playing dumb, we're going to ruin it for everyone. And here's the thing. I don't believe that women are just now exceeding men in terms of intelligence. I think women have always been smarter than men. I think women have just been overlooked. I think women have been silenced. And I think because of like social media, right? And you can literally open TikTok or Reddit or Instagram or Twitter or X or Threads or Substack or YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts or open a goddamn book, and you can now access the collective consciousness of women. We understand the game and we're all learning collectively how to play the game. In fact, we are now the game makers. I think that's scaring them. I think we're a threat, girls. And I think that if we don't start playing dumb, okay, they're going to start taking us out one by one.
Yeah. So she thinks she said something. Ma'am, we already think that women weaponize their tears. That's crocodile tears, ma'am. That phrase means something. Yeah. So you're telling the women to do what we thought they were already doing? Shout out to women now who they're really on this. Like, it's not that I outwork the men. It's not, they're not even trying to be humble with it. Now we're just simply better. We're smarter. We come out the womb smarter. We're the only thing we might not have is the physical strength. And yeah, right. So as Mr. Z said before, more women speaking as if men are just big dumb jocks, right? And it's good cope. I mean, the women got to tell themselves that. What else will they tell themselves, right? What are they going to? Are they going to be honest and say, "Look, I'm tapped out at 50 hours a week of work. I can't really do past 60. That I will fall out." They're not going to say that, huh? They're going to say, "No, the men are big dumb jocks," huh? What do we expect women who are feminists but hypergamous at the same time and want their feminism subsidized by men? They want their hypergamy, and they want their feminism. This is why. Right. He says feminism by I'm sorry, patriarchy by feminist specifications. That's why I say that. Right. Do we expect the women to be honest? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. No, they gotta cope. They gotta be some coping mechanism somewhere in there. And the coping mechanism is, well, this. Huh? This is the coping. The men are onto us and they're trying to sabotage us. Something to be said about white men in that, yes. Black men, on the other hand, huh? Black men have allowed for black women to show us how great they are. That's what black men are doing. Black men have moved back to leave black women space to be great, right? Where we're no longer a hindrance. We out of the way. And what have black women had to resign themselves to? Huh? Obligation begging. Huh? What does obligation begging look like, Z?
Normalize being mean to men so they give you a reason to be nice.
Viewer discretion is advised. This video is really bright, so...
Shout out to self-checkout.
I don't know why y'all be sitting here being nice to men for no fucking reason without any offerings.
This video is really difficult to fucking follow, bro. And I don't know if it's the orange hair or the orange eyebrows, but it's just weird. But I digress. Offerings? I really want to say more to this young lady. I really, really do. But for some reason, there's just something inside me that says, like, yo, she has bigger issues. To be broke and begging online with orange eyebrows is one hell of a combination. But then when I think about it, it kind of all makes sense. Like, you want me to believe someone that dyes their eyebrows orange would make good financial decisions? Come on.
The tables were flipped. They would not be nice to you. Unless you had something to fucking offer. Now, if you're pretty, automatically going to be nice to you. But if you're not, guess what? They'll look right past you, or they'll look for what you have to offer to them. So I'm trying to understand, why the fuck automatically are you bitches being nice to men for no fucking reason?
Let's play it your way. What the fuck are we supposed to... am I supposed to just walk around like, hey, what's your cash app? I'm gonna send you this so you can be nice to me? Like, I don't get it. Something's really not adding up here. The math has to be off, because to my recollection, they told me this generation of women are making the most money they've ever made. But it seems to me they are also the generation that begs the absolute most. And I don't know if it's because of the extension of social media, where they feel like they have access to a lot of men, so they're casting their rod out far and wide and just hoping they hit something. But somebody lying, bro. Somebody got to be lying, because you can't be paid and begging. That's an oxymoron. That shit don't go together. I got to do more research. But any other video, of course, you ain't got to listen to me. I'm just a normal guy. I keep the change.
Oh, we're not done yet. Once again, shout out to self-checkout.
If a man...
Hey, fellas, nigga note. If the video ever starts out with "if a man," just know it's about to be some bullshit. Viewer discretion is advised.
Text me and I'm on my way to do any type of woman maintenance. Hair, nails, lashes, wax. And I tell you what I'm doing, and you don't offer to pay, or you just don't send no money, you can really go to hell.
Sound the alarms. There's another beggar on the loose. I don't know how we keep letting these hoes get away. We have to, like, we've been infiltrated. One of you niggas is letting these hoes out every time we lock them up. Every day a video of a new beggar surfaces, and I'm trying to address them one by one, but this shit is becoming overwhelming. I would never understand for the life of me. If I am attractive, right? If I'm a woman, I'm attractive, and I feel like I got all this motion, I get what I want. I should never have to beg for anything. Like, shit should just appear like I got Fairly Odd Parents or some shit like that.
And you could really lose my number because...
You know what? That's actually a point I can agree with. That person definitely needs to lose your number. But you know who needs to find a number? Like, to a company that's hiring? You. That way you can make your own currency, right? And now you don't have to get online begging men to do it, especially random men that you don't know. Because if you had a guy taking care of all those things that you just mentioned, you wouldn't be online talking to us about it. It is clear one of the niggas you was fucking with did not send the bread, and now you feel some kind of way, so you gotta vent. You came to the internet to say what you think men should be doing. Sweetheart, it don't always work that way. And if you are who you think you are, you would get what you wanted.
I don't know. It just bothers my soul.
What should bother your soul is that you broke. That should bother you much more. That should not be something you can sit comfortably with. Not the fact that he didn't send you the money. What it should be is like, damn, bro, I'm broke. That bothers my soul. I gotta change this.
Knowing I'm telling you what I'm about to do, and you know it's gonna involve spending some bread, and you ain't sending nothing. Like, leave me alone forever.
That's literally the best part of the whole video. Fellas, please take her serious. Leave her alone. Forever. It's clear she's financially dependent. Don't bother with her. There's no need. But like any other video, you ain't gotta listen to me. I'm just a normal guy. I keep the change.
Right. And once again, shout out to self-checkout. So why Mr. Z played these clips is for us to appreciate that Ryan Clark don't know what the hell he talking about. Ooh, goddamn, Z, that came out of nowhere. Huh? All of that pandering to these mean-ass women. Ryan, you are a rich, famous, retired sports star. We ain't doing it. Huh? For all of you that seen the clip with Ryan Clark speaking about Sha'Carri Richardson and him essentially saying that men have to pay for the sins of our fathers, apparently. So as y'all know, Mr. Z likes to say, because some Middle Eastern man backhanded his wife 3,500 years ago, black men in America got to pay. Huh? So Sha'Carri should get passes for physically assaulting her boyfriend at the time. Other black women should get passes for talking to men crazily, being insulting, demeaning, just generally sexist towards black men. All women, particularly obviously black women, should get passes because, as Ryan Clark said, men have just been awful or horrible, whatever word he used, right? And these women are telling you straight up to be mean to men unless they come with offerings, right? Unless they come with offerings. Once again, the outliers are doing way too much talking. Just way too much talking. The outlier men, black men, with money for attorneys and money to pay child support to the side chick when she get preggo and she don't want to delete the unborn kid, money for the charges of acting inappropriately, triple XYs, men like that doing way too much talking. Huh? Pandering way too much. Huh? Not appreciating the dynamics between men and women for us average men. These are your a-hole daughters, Mr. Clark. So I can't tell you what those women that you're interacting with up there, what they on, other than a gold digging, clearly. But over here, in the real world, with the rest of us, average men, average folks, particularly average black men, yeah, what we get are these dry-ass, sassy-ass beggars. These obligation beggars. These what he's supposed to do beggars. These if you was a real man beggars. That are openly and outright saying, yeah, be mean to him. Sass him. Huh? Yeah. Huh? So if you're not going to address that, and I'll give you a second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. My apologies, everyone, for the super late. Oh, okay, okay, all right. Yeah, we're back. We're back. Let me read this one now. And Inspired Truth says, when chicks believe they're superior, but reality doesn't reflect it, you be enter dry begging. Exactly. Exactly. We're gonna leave that up for a second. I saw the other super chat. I'll get to it. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. We're back, everyone. My apologies. Y'all already know reckless streams. Y'all already know. All right. All right. Things to do. Yes, we do. All right. Um. Yeah, everyone. So. Okay. We'll do that. Yeah. So. They're dry begging. The environment is kicking them in the butt. You see this young lady that spoke of weaponizing your tears, and the later part of this conversation, because this segment was about 11 or so 12 or so minutes long, that I played, where the young lady was speaking about weaponizing your tears. She literally said weaponizing your tears. So if that's the thing, if we're weaponizing our tears, I want black men to be aware and somewhat defensive, and defend yourself from women, white, black, Latina, Asian, or otherwise, weaponizing their tears. So we know that it's crocodile tears. So now you have confirmation. Shout out to, as I was saying earlier, Ryan Clark and the like, and his ilk. These white knights who are all about being as harsh as humanly possible to men, young men, while letting women skate. They're there, tisk, 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 right? So I said it before, the women appreciate the game. Ryan Clark, they know the game. They're going to weaponize it. I think you know this also, but the way your manhood is constructed is, well, I'm a rich black man. I ain't got to worry about it too much, but all you average black men, yeah. The way your manhood is constructed is, to be a real man is to let women skate for all type of misbehavior, all type of aggressive, and quite frankly, abusive language. And men, on the other hand, no, we must hold ourselves to a higher standard than that. We're men, right? Meanwhile, real black men die. Yeah. Huh? Imagine that, everyone. Real black men, mortality is our mortality rate is way worse than everyone else, including for the brothers with some money and some status. Wow. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. Birth rate for black folks in the crapper, including for black folks with some money, black men who work and strive and struggle to put themselves in the best situation financially. Their sons end up working class. And in that environment, Ryan Clark is telling you to give women passes for physical assault, to give black women passes for physical assault. Y'all know what Mr. Z says. What informs many black men when it comes to this is slavery. Maybe not all of us. I would say most of us. Black folk, black men in the West, particularly obviously US FBA, what informs this is guilt that black women went through slavery, and that black women aren't upper middle class, rich, and elite white women. And so black women get to speak to you any kind of way. Black women get to treat you any kind of way. And you, as a black man, a real black man, a black man that cares about black people, black women, black community, black children, are supposed to eat that, because slavery, Jim Crow, and black women don't get to be white women. Shout out to Media Man. And that's why an increasing amount of black men are dating and marrying out, and their marriage rate is actually going up, and is projected to be 40% of black men married in the next couple years, in the next few years, better yet. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. So weaponizing your tears and obligation begging, sassy begging, aggressive begging, as the Raj report says, it's just begging. Huh? And the incentive is, huh? I gotta find that clip with Real Talk with Yenny. We said, what's the incentive? I need to play that over and over and over again because, as I said before, it should be black men asking, what's the incentive? Huh? White folk are re-white folking. Z, they never stopped you. You're right. Black women who always were in the struggle, but were barely being floated by social programs are having that ripped away. So now they're trying to obligate beg. It's your obligation, it's your duty. What's their duty? Exist. What's your duty? Provide for them at the highest level. If not at the highest level, just protect, provide, and shut up. Huh? And then they're backed up by the likes of Ryan Clark. Huh? And DL Hughley and them. But to get inspired truth, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Right? Where is that other one? Did it escape me? No, there it goes. And all hell Balamuzio, formerly known as Vincent Von Doom says, I blame the tricks. The tricks are a problem. The tricks are definitely a problem. Right? They're not the problem, but they're definitely a problem. Yikes. Huh? Well, let me see. Which one was this one?
Wait.
Viewer.
Oh, talking about, oh, I love this. So this will go to what I was saying about Ryan Clark. This is going to speak to the dynamic that these folks want to bring about in the black community. This is going to speak to a lot of things that we speak about here in the Black Manosphere. So here we go, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat.
Wait.
Viewer discretion is advised. Fellas, please, after you see this clip, do not release the hounds. Enjoy.
Start over because they were walking like
Don't worry about that. We're starting from down there.
Oh, we're starting from down there. And walking towards her?
Walk past. It's natural.
No, we were side by side. Calm down. All I said was she was side by side. We were side by side.
I'm not worried about people walking.
Okay, I am. I don't want to walk side by side with somebody.
Babe, you're on vacation. It's not going to be an empty beach.
Why can't you just say okay, babe?
You were doing that yesterday. You get mad at people walking.
I was not getting mad. You just want to keep going instead of just saying okay, babe.
I'm never going to say okay, babe.
I know, it's one of your problems. Just say okay.
No, it's not one of my problems. That's why we're still together. Because you think he's going to rule straight.
What am I wrong?
If at any point in time you end up with a woman like this, leave her right where she stands. Because women like that are insufferable. They're combative. There's like this nigga, all he did was say, hey, babe, it's okay. We're just going to start on the other end, all right? Not only that, it's going to continue to happen because we are on a public beach. We are on vacation. So this shit that's frustrating you, it's going to continue. There's no need for you to acknowledge it. It's pointless. But instead of listening to her man, what she thought was relax. Mind you, didn't raise his voice, didn't get hyped. All he did was mention something to her. Now he got to fucking relax. The same women that say they hate when we tell them relax. And in her mind, what he should have done was feed into her overdramatic bullshit and just say, yes, babe. Like the good doggy that he is. Boy, I tell you, man, these hoes get more and more insufferable every single day. And I commend this man because his level of patience that he had with this woman, you could tell he used to it. You could tell this is a normal occurrence between the two of them. Fellas, we got to want more for ourselves because that ain't it. In his everyday life, he's consistently dealing with this woman's attitude over nothing. He said nothing wrong in the whole situation, the whole interaction. All he said was, babe, it's a public beach. You get mad at stuff. You got mad yesterday over the same thing. It's going to continue to happen. I don't want to walk side by side. Okay, just slow the fuck down. It's not that big of a fucking deal. And I'm happy he stood his ground and said, I'm never just going to say, okay, babe. And she had the audacity to say, that's one of your problems. What the fuck? She want a yes man and that's not him. And he better than me because I'd have left that bitch standing right where she is. And the sad part about it is this is what life is like for a lot of men in America. He's doing some shit he probably doesn't even want to do, but he's supporting his woman. But in the midst of it, he has to deal with her bullshit attitude. That woman is looking for a yes man and that's not him. Fellas, a good woman is never going to go back and forth with you about some shit like that. But just like any other video, you ain't got to listen to me. I'm just a normal guy. Yeah, keep it change.
And Saint Cyr says, why can't you just say, okay, babe, F out of here? um, so oftentimes the dynamic in the black community between black men and black women gets painted with the same broad brush that the dynamic that folks assume happens in non-black communities, particularly white society, which is these overbearing, aggressive, um, misogynistic men who dictate to women, minimize women's concerns, dismiss women, insult women, don't take women's feelings into account, um, escalate, right? And what you see here is a black woman doing that to a black man. Huh? We have far too many folks, particularly the talking heads, who, whether they actually know or not, are speaking as if this doesn't exist, particularly in the black community. Way too many talking heads, as y'all know, Mr. Z likes to say that outliers are doing way too much talking because they speak as if this doesn't exist. Huh? Yikes. This is much of the reason why your black men are marrying and dating out more and more. As Beast Mode covered, more, and I'm probably going to cover that later on tonight. We'll see. More and more of your black men are saying, yeah, about that. See, no. Huh? This is why your black men are dating and marrying out. That right there. Huh? So once again, shout out to self-checkout, fellow Haitian American, right? That's why. We don't speak about the black community as if it's a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. We minimize that. We laugh and mock and insult the black men that use that type of language. You've seen it from the likes of Bowser all the way to Diallo Kenyatta, Dr. Jared Ball, all these folks who laugh and snicker. Huh? Bowser just straight up insulted your intelligence. Huh? Meanwhile, this type of dynamic exists all over the black community. And no one says anything because in their minds, this is the natural order of things. This is the way it should be. Then these folks pretend not to appreciate and understand why their sons are dating and marrying out and having mixed children with non-black women. And you have a smorgasbord of black women on the West Coast, particularly LA, who are like, the black men aren't talking to me and they won't approach me. And every time I see them, they're with a Latina and a white woman and maybe even an Asian. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Listen to how he spoke. Excuse me. She spoke to him. Well, actually, yes. Listen to how he spoke to her also. And he said it exactly. You always trying to rule things. Rule-ish. Yeah. Run-ish. Yep. Huh? What else do you need to know? Dear Black America, can we stop pretending like we don't know why our sons are dating and marrying out? Huh? Can we stop pretending? Exhibit A. Huh? So your daughters will be relegated to toys.
Say what y'all want. Say what y'all want. Men is wicked, but y'all are wickeder. Because look at this. Say whatever y'all, I don't care what y'all say. Say whatever y'all want. Y'all got the lick a lot of box 328 to go to sleep. This is what y'all got under y'all pillow. The mouth is going crazy. The jaw is going crazy up here. And then the shit got, this is an engine. This is a Hellcat. This is a V3. Are you dumb? This is what y'all need. You see, y'all say men is wicked, but all we need is a bottle of lotion and a good imagination. And this is what y'all need. Y'all got this joint inside y'all joint, beating y'all joint up. And this is what y'all need. You see, this is out of the You Need Jesus catalog. I'm gonna tell you.
Huh? Yeah. That's hysterical, Starman. Right? Yeah, your daughters will be relegated to toys and being took to Pound Town by non-black men who ain't gonna do nothing with them, but once again, take them to Pound Town. Huh? They're nuclear powered toys. Huh. So I saw the clip earlier and I want to compile some stuff. I want to speak about some stuff, cover it. And I know many of you, y'all can't stomach that white couple. I get it. Shout out to Trail Bentley. Um, so that was new news to Z, and I'm gonna do some more research into that. Um, that well-off black folks have, if not the least, amongst the least amount of children, or at least their birth rate is in the crapper also. And when you get to well-off folks in America, the people that have the highest birth rate or among the highest birth rate is actually white folks. And the people that have the lowest birth rate, or at least among the lowest birth rate, are black folks. Contrary to popular belief. Huh? And we can see much of the reason why. Are there financial stressors? Absolutely. Are some of the stressors what it takes as a black man in particular to maintain that income? Absolutely. Are there social factors, political factors? You damn right. We're black in America. You damn right. And it's one of the factors that the person that should be on your team, black women, on your program, black women, do everything in their goddamn power to give you the middle finger. Huh? Yikes. I'm awful. I watched it. I have it. I'm gonna cover it in a little bit. Maybe tomorrow. Well, maybe later on tonight, if not tomorrow. And I'm awful says, Z, did you check out my link? It's another compilation video. Black men don't date black women in LA, part 50. Hysterical. Yeah, so one of the women I saw her before. She said the same thing. So that he just clipped that video's old, but all the other videos I saw were recent. And there's one video that I saw which was interesting, about a young lady saying we need to stop speaking as black women like we have all these options. As a matter of fact, y'all gives you a second. Let me see something. Y'all gives you a second. We're gonna see if we can cover that in a minute. Y'all gives you a second. I'm trying to get this for you guys. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Black women do not be having the options that they say they got. And before you jump in my comments, no, I don't have a man. No, I don't have options. Okay, so I beat you to it. There you go. I already beat you to it. So if that's all you care about, you can go and scroll past this video. Anyway, black women do not be having the options that they say they got, because my whole thing is, if you say you have an option, that means you like that option. That means you are considering that option. So women be
talking about we got options. Oh, a man is the easiest thing to get. But the man y'all be talking about, you don't even want the man. Y'all don't even want to take this man serious. These men you're not attracted to these men. You don't want them. You really just wasting their time because you're not even taking them serious. You're not considering being with them for real. You're not considering being in a relationship with them or nothing. You don't like them. So how would you consider somebody an option that you don't want? Like, just think about this. If I have 2 t-shirts, they're both options. I like both these t-shirts. I like both of them. They're options. But I only can choose one. That's an option. I like both of them, so they're both options. But I can only choose one, okay? That's what an option is. Y'all be in this delusional mindset that you got options, but the options that y'all claim y'all got, you don't even want them. So why would you claim them as an option? Do y'all be knowing what y'all be saying when y'all be saying this stuff? Like, y'all be thinking y'all sound so smart. Y'all think y'all 8 when y'all be saying this stuff like, oh, I got options. Oh, a man is the easiest thing to get. Ma'am, you sound crazy and delusional. If the man that you claim is an option, if you don't want him, he's not an option. That don't make sense to y'all? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know what it is, but y'all don't be making no sense to me. Get it together.
Men, a lot of y'all gonna end up single and alone at the end of your life too. I know y'all out here saying that it's hard for women to get married. It's hard for some of y'all to get married too, because the women that God has for you, you overlooking them. You keep shooting your shot at women that don't even want you because you ain't got everything you supposed to have together. I'm gonna say it because y'all don't really understand. Y'all try to say women gonna end up lonely. A lot of you men are gonna die single and alone, because you will not let God work on your heart. You won't level up. The type of women you want, you don't even have the emotional intelligence to deal with them, the relational intelligence. You don't have the integrity. You don't have the leadership, and you shooting for that woman. But y'all won't talk about the ones that you shot for and they let you down and they told you no thank you. Y'all not ready to talk about the women that told you no thank you because you wasn't on her level. It's a woman that you shot for, sir. And when she denied you and shot you down, now you mad at all the other women and trying to dog them and give them self-esteem issues. Oh, I see y'all out there on the internet streets dogging women. This why y'all don't never get married. Y'all gonna be single forever. Sir, so are you. Sir, so are you. With that stubborn, prideful mentality, thinking that you are better than every woman out here and that you are the prize. Sir, you gonna be alone and single too in your elderly years. So stop going after women talking about all y'all single women. Some of you men are single because you can't get the woman you want neither.
And we're back. Huh? And Grab Second Gear says she talking about herself. Which one? Which one of the ladies? So the video with the young lady in her car, with the glasses, and she's speaking about, black women don't be having these options. So we know the reason why the more seasoned lady, older seasoned lady, we know this is why she sound the way she does.
Men, a lot of y'all gonna end up single and alone.
We know why she sound the way she does. Huh? Some of us that are a bit more disciplined, we won't laugh in her face. We'll go along with it. Some of the panderers and blue pill folks, huh? They'd be like, no, you know, you're right. These black men, these men, they stay threatening that the women gonna die alone. No, they gonna die alone too. Yeah, you're right. They really just bitter. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, right. Those we know why she sounds the way she does. Huh? Shout out to you for being honest. Right? But we know what it is. Shout out to Chrissy and shout out to Real Talk with Yanni and shout out to all of the content creators who throw a temper tantrum but try to be the fake stoicism. No, we just gonna date out. We don't want you anyway. You can't fire me, I quit. Yeah, that's it. And shout out to JR Wisdom. I got that clip from JR Wisdom's channel. Shout out to JR Wisdom. Shout out to JR Wisdom. Right? You can't fire me because I quit. Yeah, that's it. So the young lady just straight up told y'all, ma'am, we already know. We know what it is. We know why. We know why the ladies sound the way they do. We know. Huh? Black men know it's a facade. At least enough of us do. We know black women don't got nowhere else to go. We know. We know the whole game is to lie to black men so that you can get as much as humanly possible with putting out the least effort and work as possible. As many of us has been saying, black women don't want to compete for black men. When Mr. Z is saying black women will compete for black men and sometimes lose or go munch on each other. Those are your choices. Or better yet, options, as the young lady was saying. You could be taken on you could be taken to Pound Town by one of those non-black men who ain't gonna take you seriously, definitely ain't gonna wife you. Huh? You could do that. You can get real comfortable with your toys. You can munch on each other, or you can get on a black man's program. And those are your choices, ma'am. You do have choices. The young lady was saying that black women don't have no choices. No, y'all got choices. I disagree with her. They do have choices. It's black man's program. It's same-sex loving relationships with other black women, right? Which more often than not turn into something DV. There's Pound Town with non-black men who you hope will take it seriously, probably won't. And then with your diddle toys. Not diddle toys, Z. Your diddler toys. Huh? Oh, that's even funnier. Diddler toys. There we go. Huh? So no, ma'am, you do have choices. Mr. Z disagrees. You have choices. Huh? Chrissy told y'all to just stay single if you can't date out hypergamously. That's what she said. Huh? So that's a choice also. Right? Y'all do have choices.
This is what I tell average looking and below average looking women. If you can't date up, be alone. Life is easier that way. And I know that's controversial. I don't care. I don't care.
And there you go. Huh? No, ma'am, y'all definitely do have choices. Right? Now, there's choices that are better than others. Huh? But y'all have choices. Well, y'all had more choices. Ooh. Choices looking kind of slim right now, but I mean, y'all had, at least past tens had choices. Huh? So for black men, and excuse me, I might be going through a dead zone again. For black men, we also have questions to ask ourselves, right? Especially considering what we know is the environment currently and what we foresee being the environment in just the next couple years, half decade, decade, and 2 decades. We also have questions for ourselves as a collective of Black men, and for ourselves individually. It would behoove us to not just let life happen. Because it's wintertime for everyone right now. It's wintertime for everyone right now. It's not just a funny one-liner. It's not just something to point and laugh at the women about. No, it's winter for everyone. And some men are going to freeze too. Some Black men are going to freeze also. Huh? What I would implore, or what I would talk about beg Black men is, don't freeze outside because of her. Ooh, goddamn. If you're going to be caught frozen outside, don't freeze outside because of her. Because you trying to drag her stubble mule ass into some shelter. Huh? If she ain't on your program, then leave her out there to freeze by herself. Huh? Either she's on your program and we could talk quote unquote community led by Black men, or she's frozen outside. New rules. Those are the rules. New rules, those are the rules. Huh? And Ray says, the first lady knows why they cap. Manipulation is women's first power since they don't have brawn. Yeah. Yep. Since they don't have the physical strength and whatnot, yes. Dominic says Black dating, mating, and relating. Black dating and read it again. Black dating, mating, and relating has become a giant game of chicken. The question is, when has it not been? Third, I agree with you if you're saying it got worse. I'll agree with that. And Dominic, what I will say to that is the ladies loved it when they thought they were winning, when they thought that white society had the thumb on the scales for them, when they thought that the Oprahs and the Chrissies and the Real Talk with Yannies and the Meg Thee Stallions and the Gayle Kings and the Tiffany Cross and the Simone Sanders and when they thought women like that had the thumb on the scale for them, they were all go. It was middle finger to Black men. When Paris Milan was around and when Crystalline Karazin was talking about swirl life and how great these non-Black men, particularly white men, of course, how great they are. Talk about a game of chicken. Yeah, that's what Black women were on. When it was debatable whether Kamala could be the next president, Kamala Harris, yeah, that's what Black women were on. Even during COVID-19, we were in the middle of Armageddon. For my day ones, y'all know Mr. Z says this often. America, the globe, was in the middle of Armageddon. No one knew what the next day would bring. People in America were elbowing each other in the face for toilet paper. And even in that environment, Women, black women, were calling into Kevin Samuels' show, saying to Kevin Samuels, and by extension to black men, what these women were not going to settle for, and who wants to be with average anyway. Huh? So when you say black dating, mating, and relating has become a giant game of chicken, Mr. Z says, when hasn't been? When hasn't it been, better yet? Black women were on 2020 with the white woman, and black women were speaking about how horrible their dating experiences or lack thereof was going. And implicit in that statement was black men are not good enough. They're not on the level. Black women were whole ballrooms deep, not balls deep, whole ballrooms deep, speaking to Steve Harvey, and his group about how horrible the dating scene is. Once again, implicit in that is black men are lacking. Yeah. Game of chicken. Black women were playing chicken and they loved it when they thought the thumb was on the scale for them. On the Yola Van Zant, on Oprah, on any one of the talk shows in the 90s, all of the movies, in the music, but now black women are attempting to weaponize their tears because things are about to get real tough. And if a somewhat well-to-do black woman like this young lady is telling you to weaponize your tears, then you better believe the poor women, working class black women, are definitely going to be on that type of time.
I know to my core that we have far exceeded men in terms of intelligence in this country, but I think it's time we start playing dumb. I think it's time we start getting in touch with our emotions. So I'd like to introduce you ladies to what I'm calling the crybaby theory. I think it's time we start crying again. Are you being inconvenienced? Cry. Are you losing an argument? Cry. Oh, they can't accommodate you? Cry. Oh, you didn't get your way? Cry. We really need to move past this, like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. No, that. We need to, like, throw them off a little bit because the powers that be, they're on to us. They know we're smarter than them. And honestly, if we don't start playing dumb, we're going to ruin it for everyone. And here's the thing. I don't believe that women are just now exceeding men in terms of intelligence. I think women have always been smarter than men. I think women have just been overlooked. I think women have been silenced. And I think because of like social media, right? And you can literally open TikTok or Reddit or Instagram or Twitter or X or Threads or Substack or YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts or open a goddamn book and you can now access the collective consciousness of women. We understand the game and we're all learning collectively how to play the game. In fact, we are now the game makers. I think that's scaring them. I think we're a threat, girls. And I think that if we don't start playing dumb, okay, they're going to start taking us out one by one.
Yep. And Mr. Z plays this for the Ryan Clarks of the world. Women have ears and eyes too. They hear y'all essentially say to them, oh yeah, you can weaponize your tears and you can weaponize, right, your smaller proportions and your smaller size or frame. For some of you are built like, oh goddamn Hummer H2s, but but the way my manhood is built, I'll allow for you to weaponize your tears against other black men, and I'll chastise him. Huh? How did the young lady start this statement?
I know to my core that we have far exceeded men in terms of intelligence in this country, but I think
Huh? I know to my core that we have far exceeded men as far as intelligence in this country. So intelligent that men earn more than women. Now, they are intelligent enough to get subsidized by the men. Oh, wait, except for the ones that aren't, which is now around 40 some odd, 45-ish%. And those 45-ish% largely are struggling financially. Yeah, about that intelligence again. Huh? About that intelligence again. Huh? I know we have far exceeded the men in intelligence. So intelligent, you're struggling. Huh? Particularly as a black woman. So intelligent that black and Latina women who never marry are the least wealthy in the US. Yeah, about that. Because that screams intelligent. So intelligent, you're not marrying, so you're not being subsidized or provided for, and then you have the least amount of wealth in America. 8 cents to the white man's dollar. Mhm. Now, yeah, black men have 21 cents, which is not the greatest, but that could have been 29 cents instead of just your 8 cents. Once again, this young lady is an outlier, so she's doing well financially, right? So just in case she comes up on this, well, me and my girlfriends are good. Yeah, you and maybe your other black girlfriends. What about the rest of black women? Oops. And St. Cyr says they think men are subhuman. They got to tell themselves. Big dumb jocks. Y'all notice Mr. Z doesn't do this whole thing when we speak about white folks like they're evil or whatever. Like, I don't speak about them like they're subhuman. No. I speak of them as if they were born in the lucky sperm club of whiteness, particularly over the past half millennia, definitely over the past 2 centuries, 2 to 3 centuries. And what their goal is now is just to maintain their position, right? To perpetuate what their ancestors deleted for. It's not about speaking of them as if they're subhuman per se. But the women have to speak about you as if you're lesser. Just like the white folks, ooh, goddamn, have to speak about you as if you're lesser. Now, will you look at that? Huh? Think of this. And the white folks are making fun of this. It's frightening. I'm seeing the comments, I'm seeing the videos. White men are going right at black women's neck. Huh? Because they see the coping and they no longer are going to play patty cake with it. Black women got to say that you're subhuman. Huh? Or you're less human. Or you're a lesser man. And it's going to cost them, literally financially cost them. It's going to cost them psychologically. It's going to cost them mentally and emotionally. And it's literally going to cost them financially. It's already costing them financially. I've said it before. Others have said it before. For every black man that marries out, that's less wealth in a black woman's pocket. That's more precarity for black women. But their pride and ego and their stubbornness won't allow for them to do what they're supposed to do. So they dry beg, sassy beg, arrogant beg, aggressive beg, shame, insult, guilt, the need to be right. Instead of just coming up the middle and say, yeah, look, if we don't get it right with black men, we out here, we gonna be struggling. Huh? Their whole game is the poker face, no pun. Their game is poker. If I just keep a straight face and tell them how much they're not needed, not wanted, then they'll just heap more and more praise on me. They'll work harder for my attention. They'll work harder for my approval. And black men said, yeah, about that. Huh? See the way my manhood work. See the way my wallet works. Huh? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And St. Cyr says, but Z, they say being with a black man is struggle love. Well, we're about to see about that. Wait, we're already seeing about that. 100,000, 300,000, 500,000 jobs in the span of a few months. We're about to see about that. Huh? Being with a black man is struggle love? Alrighty then. Yikes. Just reading some of you guys' comments. Yikes. So I want to circle back to this because this is a true, real question. Black people, black men, what are you going to do with these stats and numbers? I'm about black men getting to the bag, getting their money, doing well, doing right by themselves, right by their families and their loved ones. With that, black folks with some stability, and I think the guy here said anyone who's not in the bottom 15%, your birth rate instantly, black folks at least, instantly goes down. Continuing.
You know, this is not good. This is not a place that's better off when people are like, you're concerned about white people. Also, I'd note in the United States, remember I said what matters is the groups that are breeding when they have money, right? Because what's going to happen to a group over time if they're having tons of kids, and it's only the ones who don't have money who are having tons of kids, is one, that population is going to be subjective to dysgenic selection, which has negative effects. But then two, even culturally speaking, if it's making an anti-education choice, if it's making a choice to not be economically productive that leads to that group surviving and proliferating, the cultural elements in those groups that enhance that choice are going to proliferate in the future. In the US, this becomes really important because if you're like, who's going to dominate the future of the United States? If you are above 50% income in the United States, above 50% income, who has the highest fertility? What demographic? Can anybody guess? It's white people.
Yeah,
white people
not what people think. I'll send you on WhatsApp the Institute for Family Studies graph that shows this, because it's so, actually, when you look at it, it actually looks as though when we get beyond just abject poverty, there is actually a slight positive correlation between income and fertility, but only for white people.
Only for white people.
For all other groups, it goes down, which really does I don't know, it kind of makes what they're arguing for look really bad, because they keep arguing like, give people more money and they'll have more kids, and it's like, well, that's not really true, except for just white people. Can you guys maybe
just
stop?
white people? White people do have more kids.
You're showing your hand, guys. This is not a good look for you.
The thing here is people are like, oh, what about scary black TFR, which isn't even that high, by the way. And I always point out here, but it is very important to note, black people in the United States that aren't in like the bottom, I'd say 15% of income for black individuals have the lowest fertility rate of any ethnic group in the United States.
Yeah,
anybody
they are at risk. They are at risk. They need help.
Yeah, and anybody with wealthy black friends knows this. Like, black people, when they get money, they have like no kids. And there's a number of reasons for this. We won't get into it in this episode. Might be worth doing a whole episode of why black people don't have kids.
That actually would be an interesting episode. Yeah. Because I think it's similar to people being like, oh, we'll just use Latin America indefinitely to get population numbers up for the United States, which is, as we've shown, super not going to happen. The other thing that people constantly say is like, well, black people and Africans are just going to keep having lots of babies. So, you know, just don't worry about it. They'll take care of it. And it's like, well, actually, assuming you're not in poverty, no. Extra no. Let's work on that.
And so here...
Not you too, Mr. Shakti. I ain't going to read that out loud. Not you too agreeing with Trill. Right? So, you heard what the couple had to say. Anyone who's not in the top 15%, as a matter of fact, the higher up you go, and y'all heard white folks are more likely to have children than black folks at a certain income bracket. Rich black people don't have children. Wow. So I'm going to do research to see how true this is. But based off of every graph I saw, black people were among the lowest, if not the lowest, among the lowest in birth rate, while white folks were among the highest in birth rate. Huh? Yikes. So, as I said before, and I might have to do a whole stream about that, centering this and finding some other materials to center this. The one group of people in America that should actually be asking themselves, America, women, including especially black women, what's the incentive to participate? What's the incentive to do? What's the incentive to overextend yourself, right? To overproduce, as Dr. Richard Reeves would say. The one group of people that should be asking this question, be the only group asking what's the incentive, because black men benefit the least, if benefit at all, more than any other group. Benefit the least, if benefit at all. From rich black men to academically accomplished black men, successful black men, poor black men, strong and physically opposing black men, studious black men, charismatic black men, good-looking black men, lighter skin to darker skin black men. The group of people that benefit the least, regardless of socioeconomic, socio-political position, are black men in America. Real talk with Yanni, you're wrong. It's not black women that should be asking, what's the incentive? It's black men. Huh? Yikes. Huh? And Dominic says, but wouldn't the retort be that misogyny is the reason women aren't making more than men since they are smarter? Yeah, no, that would be a good retort if you did also see that men put in more hours than women. Right? So first, the actual pay gap is a quote unquote mothering gap, right? It's the time that women take out to be mothers. But even when you control for that, men simply put in more hours than women. Even when you control for mothering. So the retort being misogyny. Yeah, no. Huh? And particularly if you are a black woman, because black women had a higher um, um, employment rate than black men. So that wouldn't really necessarily apply to black men, black women dynamic. It might apply to other folks, but not to black men, black women. Right? So when you consider how many more black women there are than black men in America, when you consider how much more black women are employed than black men in America, and how anti-blackness functions, particularly on black men in America, it's difficult to make the misogyny argument in reference to black folks um, in ways that benefit black women, right? Yeah. Huh. And Bud Buddy says, I know why. It's because black women are the most feminist. They have bought the boss babe stuff more than anyone. So they care about being bosses more than being mothers, more than anyone. Yes and no. Yes and no. And thank you for the comment. Yes and no. Right. There are systemic issues. We already know how many women black women, excuse me, pass in childbirth. Um, Does health have something to do with that? Yes. Is it all health? No. And so you compile these little grievances. Consider this, blood buddies. If you Thanos snap your finger tomorrow and black people were perfect, black men and black women, you would still have issues because the system's anti-black, right? So what you have is all of these things adding up to cause major issues and divides in the black community. So as you were saying, the black women that rather be boss babes instead of mothers. So you add that, right? Which wouldn't be the end of the world, except once again, black women's attitude. Okay, you add that with an increase in black men dating and marrying out. Okay, you add that, right? With, let's say, black men's mortality rate. You add that with what black men's incarceration rate was for the span of about 2-3 decades. You add that, well, maybe more to closer to 4 and 5, 3 and 4 decades, better yet. You add, so all of these little things, potentially greater things, you add all of those together and you have one very bad combustible mix of a community in decline. When was it not in decline? That's a good question, but in a community in decline. Huh? And all of that was able to be bolstered by this society when you had loose money, right? When America was on the up and up, definitely with the collapse of the Soviet Union, there was no ideological competitor. I like to stress this, particularly as someone that's on the left. When the Soviet Union fell, the biggest problem you had was there was no ideological competitor. This is what Francis Fukuyama was saying with the end of history. The debate is over. Neoliberal capitalism, democracy, quote unquote, democracy is the way, period. So there's no more ideological competitor. I'm tying this to what we're speaking about. And so was all gas, no brakes for a good 3-ish decades. Now with the rise of China, you have an ideological competitor with a way larger economy than the Soviet Union could ever dream of and hope for, huh? And the manufacturing and the population and the discipline, huh? So what America is deciding to do is slim out the bloat, huh? All the blubber, and as BGS was saying the other night, throw people overboard so America can get its stride and compete. And in different, there are different factors that show that America is already behind, far behind. Black women are going to feel this, huh? So the loose money that allowed for them to play boss babe and live vicariously through Oprah and Condoleezza Rice and et cetera, et cetera. Talking about successful women with no children, huh? The environment that allowed for your average black woman to live through Michelle Obama and Condoleezza Rice and Oprah Winfrey and, huh? That money is gone. Yikes. That money is gone. So you'll still have folks talking crazy, the Chrissies of the world. You'll still have that. You'll still have people insulting the men's intelligence and, right, talking crazy, the Bowsers of the world. They're still gonna be talking crazy. But that's gonna cost your everyday black woman even more than it already does. Huh? Yikes. They have a decision to make. Huh? They have a decision to make. So all this talk of misogyny or all this talk of, yeah, it's a wrap now. And to be frank with you, and I did see the segment with the white lady minimizing slavery again on Abby Phillips um CNN show. And then I saw her once again on her take, I think it's called, with Anna Kasparian and whatnot. And Anna's becoming more and more conservative. I see you, Anna. I see you. Yes, the same Anna Kasparian from TYT. Yes, I already know about the black folks that already said that TYT be lightweight, soft shoe and racist or anti-black in particular. Yes, I remember about that whole debacle. So with that, and yeah, I saw the brother they had on there with the dreads that was soft shoeing. Yeah, I saw it. Yes, I saw it. With that, we're dealing with a white folk and non-black folk that's simply telling you they do not care. They don't care what their ancestors did to your ancestors. They don't really care about the historical ramifications of that. They don't care about injustice. They don't care about the racial pyramid scheme and hierarchy. They don't care about none of that. All they hear from you is victim mentality. All they hear from you is blaming white people. Get it how you live. F your history. F your facts. F your stats. Yeah, shut up and die. Huh? And they will bring on whatever black person they feel like they need to bring on. If not, they'll just have a whole segment without the black people. It don't matter to them. Bring on whatever black person, black man, black woman, AUS or not, that they feel like they need to bring on so they can have that person there and be like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, these black people, yeah, yeah, they victim mentality, yeah, yeah. and then continue. Just like that Dread brother that was on her take, just like he did, right? So you're dealing with you're dealing with a non-black folk, non-blacks, ethnic whites, obviously Asians, South and East Asian, and Southeast Asian. You're dealing with a group of people, Latinos, who said, who essentially said, we're tired of black people playing victim and weaponizing slavery and Jim Crow against all the rest of us. Just shut the hell up. As a matter of fact, shut the F up. Triple exclamation points. So it's what Mr. Z said. It's you're not a victim, it's victim mentality. Oh, you gotta love it. Huh? You gotta love it. The people that tell you, no, you have victim mentality. You're not a victim. You're not a victim of circumstance, right? You're not a victim of history. You're not a victim. You have victim mentality, though. Huh? Exactly, Lion. And Lion says, those are the same people that talk about being squeezed out of resources by previous generations. The irony. Say that. But those folks don't care nothing about that. You are right, Lion, but for these folks, it's about telling ADOS FBA folks and other black people by extension, but really ADOS FBA folks, shut the hell up. We don't care. This is where we are now, and what you gonna do about it then? Huh? And now what? Yikes. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. That's what the folks are on right now. Black people got to be careful how they move, how they speak, especially concerning women. Women just became a whole lot more expensive. Huh? See, before they were expensive because they just were looking for these symbols of success and luxury, particularly black women, right? Virtue signaling their value through things. Huh? Signaling their value through items. Understandable. Now, women are simply going to be expensive because they're going to be expensive. We don't have the loose money where people can throw it around and just have her working there, right? And have a staff of redundant workers. And that's going to hurt some men, and it's going to really hurt women, black women in particular. So Mr. Z suspects that dry begging is going to become even more serious. That dry begging going to become more serious, y'all. That sassy begging, that aggressive begging, that obligation begging, duty begging. Yikes. Huh? And what is the point? Once again, what is the incentive if black women aren't even having black men's children, to the point where black stable folks and above are barely having children? Black folks with some money who are above stable are not even having children. So the question to black women in specific is, what is the point of all of this? What is the incentive? What's the incentive for the expensive trips? What's the incentive for the car? What's the incentive for the house if you ain't even gonna have my kids? So and shout out to all the women who started saying this and the men who didn't catch it. Stay-at-home girlfriend, not stay-at-home wife. That was already a travesty. Not stay-at-home mother. No, stay-at-home girlfriend. Absolutely not. You're gonna be a stay-at-home girlfriend to turn around and potentially be a stay-at-home wife and not a stay-at-home mother? Yeah, nope. Isn't that the threat? If you can't make me a stay-at-home mom, if I gotta lift one finger, I gotta pay these bills. Y'all not trying to have the kids no way, let alone raise them to be productive, huh? Yikes! What's the point of all of this? And Lion says, hit them with the excuse me. Lion says, hit them with the you'll be all right. You tough, right? Say that for real.
Hey, yo, hey, niggas get shot every day, B. You be alright, nigga. You tough, right?
Ah, yep. So and Jake says, same people that blame the small hats for everything while simultaneously claiming they're superior and high IQ. Yeah, look. Your average white person is going through it also, not nearly as much as black folks and black men, but they going through it also. So now it's everybody's fault. Sarge Willie Pete is 100% correct when he said, y'all are just cowards. Y'all are delusional cowards. Shout out to the women too. Y'all are delusional cowards. It's elite WASP white folks. Even Nick Fuentes said that. Oops. Did the small hat screw y'all also? Yeah, of course. Of course. Is all your issues the small hats? No. Is the majority of your issues the small hats? No. It's your rich white cousins that you wish you were. It's your same waspy white folks that you wish you were, the ones at the top. The problem is you're delusional because you think one day you'll be them, and you're a coward because you don't want to go at them because you're too busy trying to keep your foot on black people neck. Huh? So yeah, look, them folks get what they get. All those F around and find out folks, those farmers, huh? The poor whites that were on some type of government assistance. Same thing with the working class whites who were benefiting from this or that social program, who didn't appreciate that your wife was a DI hire because your wife is white, dumbass. So all them white folks, look, they get what they get. From the farmers to some of the business owners who I saw something business owner who make what, these particular type of knives, I think it is, who was like, hey, just buy American because he thought he had obviously the his factory and stuff was here and buy American. Meanwhile, one of the machines that he uses or he needed to sharpen the knives or whatnot, made in Germany. Tariffs went up, that's his ass. Huh? All these folks effed around and found out. Huh? That's the fascinating part. And Jake says, truth be told, small hats are still white, but that's a convo for another day. They are. They're ethnic whites, but they're still white. They're ethnic white. When you look at these people's their actual names fall out of goddamn Eastern Europe. We know this. But once again, that's besides the point. In this environment, these folks are talking crazy. These women are sassy begging and aggressive begging, obligation begging, and still not getting on black men's program. Well, you get what you get in this environment, bro. And remember, as Mr. Z always tells you, it's because of the power dynamic. She can't let you know that she's struggling because of the power dynamic that automatically induces. It automatically creates a power dynamic when you know and she know she needs you. Not simply wants you, which is definitely a positive, but she needs you. And so the women are trying to play poker face right now. No pun. And obligation beg, sassy beg, aggressive beg, arrogant beg. Huh? That line sent me a leak. I'll give Z a second. Let's see what this is about. Actually, while we're doing that, let's play this for the second time. We'll go over it again a little bit.
Black women do not be having the options that they say they got. And before you jump in my comments, no, I don't have a man. No, I don't have options. Okay, so I beat you to it. There you go. I already beat you to it. So if that's all you care about, you can go and scroll past this video. Anyway, black women do not be having the options that they say they got, because my whole thing is, if you say you have an option, that means you like that option. That means you are considering that option. So women be talking about, we got options. Oh, a man is the easiest thing to get. But the man y'all be talking about, you don't even want the man. Y'all don't even want to take this man serious. These men you're not attracted to these men. You don't want them. You really just wasting their time because you're not even taking them serious. You're not considering being with them for real. You're not considering being in a relationship with them or nothing. You don't like them. So how would you consider somebody an option that you don't want? Like, just think about this. If I have 2 t-shirts, they're both options. I like both these t-shirts. I like both of them. They're options. But I only can choose one. That's an option. I like both of them, so they're both options. But I can only choose one, okay? That's what an option is. Y'all be in this delusional mindset that you got options, but the options that y'all claim y'all got, you don't even want them. So why would you claim them as an option? Do y'all be knowing what y'all be saying when y'all be saying this stuff? Like, y'all be thinking y'all sound so smart. Y'all think y'all ate when y'all be saying this stuff like, oh, I got options. Oh, a man is the easiest thing to get. Ma'am, you sound crazy and delusional. If the man that you claim is an option, if you don't want him, he's not an option. That don't make sense to y'all? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know what it is, but y'all don't be making no sense to me. Get it together.
Once again, shout out to JR Wisdom. Shout out to JR Wisdom. Yeah, I saw that line. Yeah, $37 trillion in debt. Yep. And as this young lady was saying, black women don't got they got nowhere else to go. Right? They got nowhere else to go. The whole point of the matter is to try to shame, insult, guilt you, the need to be right you, not to just stay in the black community, but overproduce for her and potentially kids that don't belong to you. Oops. Kids that are not yours. Yikes. And for you to do it on the humble. Huh? And if you don't do that, black women, there's nowhere else for the masses of black women. Right now, we know somewhere between 4.5% to 6% of all marriageable age black women that's married to a non-black man. If they're lucky, maybe they could push that up to 10%. Maybe, possibly, possibly. I doubt it. Possibly. If we want to be super fair and generous, super generous, okay, let's say 10% of all marriageable age black women. What the rest of them supposed to do? Get on a black man's program? Well, we already see what's happening. They're not. They're going to struggle. They got nowhere else to go. They got nowhere else to go, and the whole game was poker. No pun. The whole game for black women, for women, to be fair, but definitely for black women in America was poker. Never let him see you sweat. Never let him know how much you need him. Never let him know that. Never. Never let him know that you're struggling. Never. Never let them know, ooh, goddamn, that in the black community, black men are the beautiful ones. For non-black folks, black men are the beautiful ones. Never let him know that. As a matter of fact, if you have to mention it, insult him about it. Ain't that right, Chrissy? That was Chrissy and Crystalline Karazin's whole thing. For those of us that remember, they used to make slight mention of what Mr. Z is saying. They never said it the way Mr. Z said it. But they kind of mention like how somewhat how desirable black men are in comparison to black women. And all that does is prove that black men are the yitches of the black community. Remember, black men did ask for this. Huh? Yikes. So, Lion says they will have and or own nothing and love it. Black women are about to be more miserable than they've been in a very long time. Black women are about to be, particularly for Xers as they age, millennials, and the oldest of Gen Z who remember a different world, a more quote unquote abundant world. Oh, they're about to be more miserable, especially the youngest of Xers and millennials. The youngest of X, because the oldest of Xers still have ties to older generations who would tell them the stories and right, who would tell them about the Great Depression, who would tell them right, and they got to see a different America that was far less abundant and far less playing patty cake with black people. But for the youngest of Xers and millennials, oh boy, the oldest of Gen Z. So let's say 25 to maybe 52-ish, 53-ish. Yeah, that would, as they age. Oh, I'm off of Z. You telling me this whole time I was a bad B and I didn't even know it? Low key. Huh? Low key. You know who knew it though? Black women. You know who else knew it? White men. You know why both of them resent you? White men resent you because for them, you got the cheat code. You don't necessarily have to have the resources that they get to have. Now, if they approaching a black woman, it's a little different. Maybe certain Latinas. But the assumption is his white skin gonna make up for all of that. Why they resent you is because for them, your looks and your quote unquote charisma allows for you not to have to work as hard and kill yourself the way they have to. Huh? If you're not talking about the chisel chin chads that the women will pay for and subsidize, because we know black women, especially if she a swirler, oh, she gonna pay. The Latinas, the Asian women, they're gonna pay. I got the clips where the Asian women straight up say they'll pay for the white dudes, right? But they're speaking about a very specific type of white man. All the other average white dudes, oh, they resent you. And black women do too. Huh? Yikes. Saint said, as a millennial with silent Gen grandparents, rest in peace to them, heard that loud and clear. Right? So yeah, you have a number of folks. We got used to the lifestyle, the advertising, even if we didn't necessarily live it. We come from humble beginnings, right? Even though we didn't necessarily live it, but as economic circuit said, like we got used to going into the store, and it didn't matter what time of year it is, what season it is, the strawberries were there, the bananas were there, no pun, huh? Really rare, maybe if there was chicken, what was it, a bird flu or whatever, really rare would you go into the store and the pork wouldn't be there, or the steaks wouldn't be there, the chicken wouldn't be there. That was like super rare. Maybe in this region, maybe in that region, right? Maybe if something happened and, oh, hey, for the next month, you know, you got to be careful with your lettuce when you buy it or whatever, huh? But quote unquote in season food, out of season food, yeah, it happens. Yeah, there's still certain foods it's like that, but that's rare, especially for us as Americans. What happens when we start to live in a world like that again? Huh? What does fast fashion look like in America with more and more limited options, if that makes any sense? Talk about oxymoron. Can you have quote unquote fast fashion where that $20 shirt is now $40, $50? Huh? Can you have fast fashion when this shirt is not going to be in H&M for only 2 months? It's going to be there for 9, for a year, for 12 months. Huh? It's a question. Yikes. When the prices of all these things go up. From your power tools, I mean your literal power tools, to your power tools, you know, the way Professor Black Shoes say it. Economic Circuit said it will not be about the things that you own, and I'm paraphrasing. It's going to be about the things that you're able to hold on to. Ooh. So you will be less likely to brag about, ooh, yeah, I got this, I got that. Z, hey, look at this, I got this, I just bought this, that. More is going to be like, hey, you know, I've been having this for like 15 years. Huh? Your values change. So maybe, yeah, you buy a new iPhone and you brag about it, but the goal is to hold on to that for 7, 8 years, maybe a decade, until your service provider turns that crap off. Look, Z, you've been holding on to this phone for a decade. Look, it stopped working. No, it didn't. Y'all turned it off. Huh? Maybe the world changes for a little bit, and now you're not switching phones every 2 years because the new one came out. As we were saying before, you hold on to this phone for as long as it could go, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe a decade if you can. And how do relationships, or the lack thereof, look like in that environment? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. All right, let me see some. Damn, y'all really ain't rocking with Z. I got 77 watching and only 53 likes. I'm guessing y'all at work right now. Y'all can't really be typing up. I ain't getting no comments like that. The likes ain't up like that. Jeez. Z, it is a Thursday. You're right. Jake, this is true. And Jake says, let's be honest, the fact that black men are still seen as sexually desirable, of sexually desired, better yet, as we are even after having the worst PR is crazy in itself. True. To be honest, no other group could run that up. Yes, I agree. Right? Because it's not simply the bad boy trope for black men. Like, there's other places in the world where, like, the bad boy trope will get you laid. It's not simply that. Black men have their intelligence insulted. Black men have their skin color and skin tone, their customs, their culture, their wardrobe, the way they speak, right? Ebonics and whatnot for those that use it. Their socioeconomic position, their socio-political position. Black men have all of that under attack all day, every day. And even with that, you have Latinas that want to pipe, or that want to be piped by black men, Asian women, small hat women, WASP women, foreign women. Even with all of those stereotypes, as a matter of fact, for some, the stereotypes are the turn on, right? But even with all those stereotypes, the clip that I showed, a man on the street with a dude, I think he's Turkish also, he asked the lady, and she's very attractive. Who does she find, and who does she like? Who does she find attractive? She said black. Huh? Straight up. Say, I like them, they accept me for who I am. Very attractive woman. She straight up say black. You see, why are you saying it like that? Because that's the way she said it. The tangibles matter. Dear black men, don't ever let anyone tell you that the intangibles don't matter too. The tangibles matter. If you had to choose one over the other, choose the tangibles. The money, well, the status, that's relative. But the money, the power, that's somewhat relative too. But definitely the money. You can make a lot happen with the money. The tangibles matter. They matter more. But don't let anyone tell you that the intangibles don't matter also. If you want to know where the jealousy from non-black folks come from, huh? If you want to know where the jealousy from non-blacks come from, non-black men, particularly white men, but definitely those South and East Asians, you want to know where the jealousy come from? It's the non-tangibles. Huh? Anybody could be witty. Anybody could learn how to dance. Huh? So it's more than that. Huh? You go to school long enough, you're disciplined enough, you get your degree. That's not what it is. Huh? You don't think that chaps East and South Asian men's ass? They're in the gym, you're in the gym, yet you pulling. They might be wittier than you. The women shrugs. Smarter than you, shrugs. Earn more than you, shrugs. Nicer car than you, shrugs. Live in a better neighborhood than you, shrugs. White girls still choosing you over them though. Huh? You know how we know? Because they say it. Ooh, goddamn. The South Asian and East Asian men say it. Now they can always come and deal with Keisha, and on the low they do, but they won't marry her, and Becky might marry you, and there you go. They won't marry Keisha. They'll take her to Pound Town, but they won't marry her. They won't even be in a serious relationship with her, more often than not. But Becky want to be seen in public with you, and she will marry you, potentially. That chaps their ass. The some Latinos, but the Asian dudes, South and East Asian, that chaps their ass. No? Yikes. So on that note, y'all, this is Edon Riffing. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you, button. Shout out to the replay gang. I'm going to probably find some more about this birth rate thing for black folks with some money. I'm gonna play the clip one more again before we end out. Because I think that's something that we need to actually speak about, right? Especially for those of us that want to have a family, want to have some children, right? So even if you are a passport bro or your SYSBM, if your non-black spouse, barring the brothers that's going to go to Africa for a wife, but if your non-black spouse ain't trying to have at least 2 children, then what's the point? Now, if you're older and you out there or you had your kids already, this does not apply to you, brothers. right? So if you're not trying to have children, this does not apply to you. But for all the rest of us, what's the point then? That's a real question. Shout out to Real Talk with Yanni. What's the incentive? No, black men. That's the question that black men should be asking everyone in this society. What is the incentive? What is the incentive to join your military? What's the incentive to work for your corporation? What's the incentive to do for black women or any women, for that matter of fact? What's the incentive if when we look at the data on just about anything, that when you have money and have some status, you're supposed to benefit from this money and status, and yet for black men, it moves up marginally, barely, if move up at all. No, black men should be the ones asking what's the incentive. So on that note, y'all, we're gonna play this one more again and end out. All right, shout out to y'all. Mr. Z out. Wait, Mr. Z, outro again. Go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.
You know, this is not good. This is not a place that's better off when people are like, you're concerned about white people. Also, I'd note in the United States, remember I said what matters is the groups that are breeding when they have money, right? Because what's going to happen to a group over time if they're having tons of kids, and it's only the ones who don't have money who are having tons of kids, is one, that population is going to be subjective to dysgenic selection, which has negative effects. But then two, even culturally speaking, if it's making an anti-education choice, if it's making a choice to not be economically productive that leads to that group surviving and proliferating, the cultural elements in those groups that enhance that choice are going to proliferate in the future. In the US, this becomes really important because if you're like, who's going to dominate the future of the United States? If you are above 50% income in the United States, above 50% income, who has the highest fertility? What demographic? Can anybody guess? It's white people.
Yeah,
white people
not what people think. I'll send you on WhatsApp the Institute for Family Studies graph that shows this, because it's so, actually, when you look at it, it actually looks as though when we get beyond just abject poverty, there is actually a slight positive correlation between income and fertility, but only for white people.
Only for white people.
For all other groups, it goes down, which really does. It kind of makes what they're arguing for look really bad, because they keep arguing like, give people more money and they'll have more kids, and it's like, well, that's not really true, except for just white people. Can you guys maybe stop?
White people. White people do have more kids.
You're showing your hand, guys. This is not a good look for you.
The thing here is people are like, oh, what about scary black TFR, which isn't even that high, by the way. And I always point out here, but it is very important to note, black people in the United States that aren't in like the bottom, I'd say 15% of income for black individuals have the lowest fertility rate of any ethnic group in the United States.
Yeah, they are at risk. They are at risk. They need help.
Yeah, and anybody with wealthy black friends knows this. Like, black people, when they get money, they have like no kids. And there's a number of reasons for this. We won't get into it in this episode. Might be worth doing a whole episode of why black people don't have kids.
That actually would be an interesting episode. Yeah. Because I think it's similar to people being like, oh, we'll just use Latin America indefinitely to get population numbers up for the United States, which is, as we've shown, super not going to happen. The other thing that people constantly say is like, well, black people and Africans are just going to keep having lots of babies. So, just don't worry about it. They'll take care of it. And it's like, well, actually, assuming you're not in poverty, no. Extra no. Let's work on that.
And so here...